There was a moment in my life that completely saved me from utter destruction. And the weirdest thing about it, it almost didn't happen. I want to share that story with you today. How I got there, what the moment was, and where things have gone since. If you're joining me for the first time, my name's Dave Cottrell and I do mental health education online and in person. But today isn't about that. Today is about sharing the moment when I felt I had nothing left to give. See, in 2009, I'd hit the absolute lowest point in my life. At the time, I probably sat there and felt like life had done all of this to me. But with 16, 17 years of distance between me and it now, I can see that it was a little bit of life hitting me hard and a little bit of silly mistakes and bad decisions on my part. Maybe even a lot of the second one. Some of the things that had happened to me, I'd been bullied as a kid, I'd been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which totally made me question my self-worth. My dad had left and quite often when he was around pretended like I didn't even exist. And I had this idea of myself that I was completely worthless. But on top of the things that life did to me, there are also the things that I did to myself. Comfort eating, alcohol, drugs, even self-harm. Each one of these things was a coping strategy at the time, but they all just sent me further and further into that hole. My self-worth was so low that I sabotaged my relationship and then ended up in a toxic one shortly after. During that time, I drove a wedge between myself and every one of my friends and all of my family. But it's not just the big things like drugs and alcohol. The little daily things that we do quietly chip away at us too. It was in this very house that I met that low point, and I would lie daily on that couch just there with the blackout blinds down in complete and utter darkness. Yes, depression can lead you to curate your environment that way, but making your environment that way can lead to depression too. I spent days, weeks, months lying on that couch just wishing things would get better. And the ironic thing is, the day that it all got to its absolute worst, I actually woke up feeling kind of positive. I got up, I got out, I drove to Liverpool, gave myself a little bit of retail therapy, but it didn't hit the spot. It didn't fulfill that need, that much deeper need that these short-term behaviours can never accomplish. I found myself walking around Liverpool as I was heading back to the car. And at the time, Facebook on mobile was only just a kind of new thing. But I decided I really needed a hug. So, in a desperate sense, what did I do? I put a message on Facebook that just said, I need a hug. Some of you might look at that as a cry for attention. Believe me, it was a cry for connection. And I genuinely thought, it's a 45-minute drive for me to get back home from Liverpool. I genuinely thought that by the time I get home, there would be so many people offering a hug. But when I got home and there wasn't, that just confirmed everything that I was believing. No one was there for me. This is one of 3 things that is called Beck's Triad. 3 beliefs that a person that has hit rock bottom most likely believes. Number 1, something about yourself. You're a bad person. You've wasted your opportunities. You've messed everything up. Number 2, a belief about the world. There is no one out there that loves you. There is no one that's got your back. And number 3, and this is the most dangerous one, and I call it the multiplier, is number 3 is it will always be like this. If you think you're a bad person and you've messed up, but with a bit of a push in the right direction, you can make up for things, it's reasonably positive. But if you think you're a bad person, you've messed up and you'll always be a mess up, that is so much more to bear. If you think there's nobody that's there for me, but actually, if I try my best, I can make new friends, I can build new relationships. Again, that's anchored in positivity. But if you believe that there's no one there for me and there will never be anyone there for me again, that's pretty hard to deal with. Now, the bit of this story that often gets the most pushback is I had 2 young children at the time. So a lot of people would say, you owed it to them to live for them. You owed it to them to be there. You had something to live for. But when all of those beliefs combine, let me tell you, I thought I had nothing left to give. And more to the point, I thought that I was a waste of space. I thought that I was filling a place in their life that would be better left unfilled. And by thought, the scary part is I genuinely believed that. Now, as I sit here 17 years later, I find it hard to believe that I ever believed that. But I remember the feeling distinctly of feeling like the world would be better off without me, that my children would be better off without me. So that day, I made the decision to make an attempt on my own life. And thankfully, it failed. Now, I'd love to say that the moment that changed everything for me was that. It really wasn't. I got to the hospital, I recovered, I came home, I was on crisis watch, and all I was thinking at that time was, as soon as all these people are gone, as soon as I'm not being watched, I'm going to finish the job. And that's when I received my glimmer of light from the strangest of places. Netflix at the time wasn't a streaming service. It was a place you could order DVDs online and they would be posted to your door. And I had recently received an editor's pick, not even a film I had chosen myself. And it was a film called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. This is a French film, in French, that follows the real life story of Jean Bobby, the editor of Elle in France. Jean had been in a car accident, and when he came to, he was in hospital and he had locked-in syndrome. He could only move by blinking. That was it. And with the help of an ingenious nurse, they figured out a way where they could use his blinks, first to answer yes or no questions, but then to actually begin to write. And the film is the adaptation of the book that they wrote together. In this film, there is a scene that will stick with me forever. It's called Father's Day, and he goes to the beach with his kids on Father's Day. The kids are running about on the sand. The weather is absolutely terrible. The wind is blowing. It looks murky and grey. Kind of looks more like an English beach than a French beach. And he is sat there in a wheelchair, connected to all sorts of things just keeping him alive, watching his children, only able to watch, not able to touch, not able to speak. And the line he wrote in the book for that scene is this: I realised that even a sketch, even a shadow, even a fragment of a dad is still a dad. That line shook me to my very core and is shaking me a little bit again right now. I paused the video. I paused the DVD. I sat on the floor and I wept for the longest time. And inside me, something woke back up. See, 5 minutes earlier, I believed that my children deserved something better, but I believed the only way to give them that was for me to be out of the picture. This changed something deep and something powerful. It showed me that I could be that. I could build from being that fragment, from being that sketch, from being that shadow of a dad. And I could become the dad that they deserved. From that day forward, I started by committing myself to being the best possible dad I could be for them. And that was the start of everything for me. I started exercising to improve my physical health. I started therapy to improve my mental health. And I started building a business to improve my sense of self-worth and contribution. 6 months later, I find myself in a new relationship with the woman I am happy to be married to today. And at that point, again, there was an extra drive in me to be better for her, to be the man that she deserved. I started rebuilding friendships, and I wanted to be the friend that those people deserved too. And in fact, my best friend, who took me back to hospital that day when I tried to run away, actually was the first person to plant the idea in my head that maybe my story could be something worth sharing. But the real transformation came when I realised I didn't need to be better for anybody else. It's okay to be better just for me. You deserve to be better for you. I deserved to be better for me. That love of exercise and that engaging with psychology laid the framework for me one day, teaching those things myself. I retrained as a personal trainer and then retrained as a coach, because to me, helping people transform physically was great. but the mental aspect that goes along with that was so much more rewarding. And then one day I shared my story in a cafe to a guy called Sam Tyra, and he asked me, would you like to take this into schools? The last time I'd been in schools was back when I was getting bullied as a teenager. I had no desire to be back in those rooms. Every instinct inside of me was screaming no. So I said yes. 8 years on, and what was once my reason for feeling that I had nothing to give is now my greatest asset. My driving force to be the person that I needed when I was younger gets me out of bed every day and gets me into schools helping young people. The very things that drove me to that point are now the things that I get to teach to people who need it. And it's all thanks to one moment on a Netflix DVD that, if hadn't been the editor's pick, or I hadn't have chosen to just put it on that night just to pass some time, would never have happened. Your moment might not look like mine. It might be smaller, quieter, even harder to miss. But if something inside you is pulling you to say, things have to change, things have to get better, that is not weakness, that is strength. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I really appreciate being able to share this story with you.